Hey everyone, it's Pixel again, and this is going to be my review of Chapter 2 of The Star in Yellow. Which, yeah, I kind of been originally, well, I know that this has been on hold for a while, and I apologize for that, but the reason why is, well, life was, I was caught up and I had stuff to do. It was, just personal stuff. And I'll just leave it at that. And also, this was originally going to be up yesterday, but surprise, surprise, my camera was about to die on me. So, yeah. Oh, and once again, I apologize for this taking so long, so yeah. So yeah, this is Chapter 2 of The Star in Yellow. Now, disclaimer, I own nothing. Everything belongs to the rightful owners, so please go and support them and be nice, please. And also, there is a scene in this chapter that's very, I would say, unnerving, so viewer discretion is advised, please. So, without further ado, let's get into Chapter 2 of The Star in Yellow. So, Chapter 2 starts off with Twilight laying on the grass, looking up at the sun, which is something something you normally should not do. But for some reason it doesn't seem to be hurting Twilight's eyes, and because apparently the sun is just a yellow circle of paint. And we are introduced to a little small silver and blue filly named Silver Crescent, who is Yellow Star's sister. So, yeah, they're basically just... And also Yellow Star is there as well, and she asks Twilight if she's happy, and she says that, yes, I am happy, and that she's never felt so happy in all of her life. But she says to Yellow Star that she wishes that she can be as good as her, but she reminds Twilight that she is the best pony. And Silver Crescent wants to chase butterflies because, well, earlier she was chasing a butterfly. And Twilight suggests that they have another race, even though Yellow Star will win, she will... But she says that it's just fun whenever to watch Yellow Star win. But Yellow Star says that they can't chase butterflies or have another race at the moment because apparently there's a monster in Ponyville and they have to defeat it. So, yeah. I'm so sorry about that. My nose was itchy. So, yeah. And of course, Twilight feels like she's never met a monster before, but a part of her is telling her a part of her feels like that wasn't true, and she asks Yellow Star if she will save them, and of course Yellow Star says, I always save the day, but so this monster is actually, it's some kind of snake with the wings of a dragon, and also it has the head of a dragon as well. And apparently it's making the ponies of Ponyville dance and turning them into stone. And the only way to stop it is for someone to do a special dance to stop the dancing, which no pony but Yellow Star knows. So, yeah. She tells Twilight and Silver Crescent that they need to dance too, but they're apparently not as good as it with Yellow Star is, and sorry about that, my hair is in the way. But the monster does turn to stone and becomes a statue in the center of Ponyville. And Twilight congratulates Yellow Star, saying that she's the best and that she knew she could do it. And of course everyone cheers for Yellow Star, but then we meet another pony, who is Yellow Star's... Well, she tells Yellow Star that she's proud of her and that she loves her very much, and this is Yellow Star's and Silver Crescent's mother. So, yeah. And she tells her mother that she's the best mother forever and ever, and apparently this was some kind of dream that Twilight was having, because, well, Twilight sees that she apparently fell asleep and she ended up accidentally using the book she was reading, which was, of course, the Star Journal, as a pillow, and she does go downstairs. Well, actually, she does go downstairs, but just to go to the couch and just, well, continue reading the book. And of course, Spike greets her, and apparently Sweetie Belle was trying to, because, yeah, his face is covered in soot. S-O-O-T. Just, yeah, it's that stuff. And apparently Sweetie Belle was writing letters to Princess Celestia, and apparently she doesn't know. It seems that there was an accident and they had apparently a mess to clean up. So, but Twilight tells Spike that she's in the middle of important studying and to leave her and Yellow Star alone. Now, Spike doesn't get it at first, thinking that it's just in Twilight's head. So, yeah, he just mutters, "Cute," and Twilight goes upstairs for some peace and quiet in I think a private part of the library. And of course she remarks how it seems like Spike is stuck in his own little world sometimes. And Spike gets the feeling that apparently it's going to be one of those weeks. And he actually brushes a single rose petal off of one of the cushions, which I think we'll come back to that later. So, yeah, Twilight is in a private corner of the library, and she says that Spike doesn't understand, but he will eventually. Sorry about that. So Twilight once again starts reading the book, but she notices something. At first it just starts off, the same adventure, like Yellow Star rescuing a king of trees for some reason and building a balloon that took her to the moon, but Twilight notices that it's almost... The pictures start to look like someone... Well, more, I think it's the words on the pages looks like the author had a hard time writing, and she comes across what appears to be somewhere in the story, she comes across what appears to be something that looks like a tomb. But Twilight just tells herself just to pull herself together, and yeah. And Twilight notices something that at one point the words actually stop mid-sentence, and there's almost like ink has been smeared across the page, as if the book was cut up and was cut and bleeding. And Twilight wonders if this was an accident or on purpose to whoever wrote this book. But Twilight starts to realize what all of this means, because it's that Twilight knows that the story basically says that Yellow Star's mother fell asleep, and Twilight she quickly realizes what that means, because in the next page is of Yellow Star trying to get flying on the back of a giant moth to the closest star, I should say, to get some magical starlight to wake up her mother, and so they can live happily ever after again. But it doesn't seem to work, so Yellow Star goes to the deepest mine and finds a magical crystal. I am so sorry about that. To save her mother and live happily ever after again, but that doesn't work either, so Yellow Star then goes to the deepest ocean and brings back a pearl to wake her mother up, but once again it doesn't work, and Twilight seems to be very upset over this, saying that it's not fair and that why couldn't she live happily ever after, and that it's not fair. And Twilight she throws some books while screaming that it's not fair. And basically confirming that Yellow Star's mother is in fact, dead. And saying that it's not fair, why did you do this to Yellow Star? It's not fair. But Twilight then calms herself down and tells herself that it's just a story after all and it isn't real. But then we then see that apparently Silver Crescent is also real, and she asks if Yellow Star is the best pony, then why couldn't she wake Mom up? And Twilight then notices something on her bed. She hears someone crying, and she goes to her bed and she sees Yellow Star curled up under the covers, sobbing her heart out because of, well, what happened. And Twilight tries to comfort her, saying that it's like, and Yellow Star is, she says if she's not, that everyone told her she was the best pony. And Twilight tries to comfort her by saying that it's not real and that it's just a story, but Yellow Star's like, no, it's not a story, it's my life. And then we hear a new voice coming from, it's actually a stallion, and this is actually hinted at, well, it's actually Yellow Star's and Silver Crescent's father. He basically, that saying that he's disappointed in Yellow Star, and that if she can't save every pony, then what use is she? And Yellow Star tells him that, no, I tried my best to save them. And the stallion just tells Yellow Star that this is all of her fault and that she couldn't be better than she was. But anywho, sorry about that. He then says he has to go away into the smooths and that it's all her fault, but Yellow Star begs him to come back and that she's sorry that she wasn't good enough, and she tells Twilight that she doesn't want to be alone and that she wants to live happily ever after again. And Twilight says that it's going to be, comforts her, saying that it's going to be okay and that it's just how stories work, and that when you're at your lowest point, you have to, well, deal with it and come out on top. But Yellow Star says that she doesn't want to be at her lowest point. She wants to be happy like she always was when she was the best pony, and wonders why she couldn't be better. But Twilight actually gets an idea, telling Yellow Star if she was a unicorn, then maybe she could be a better pony. And that if she had magic, she could help the other ponies more, and she can be the best again. But Yellow Star tells her that she's not a unicorn, she's, well, Yellow Star is, well, an earth pony, so. But Twilight actually suggests that Yellow Star, that she could give Yellow Star her horn. And she's like, you would really do that for me? And she once again calls Twilight her most faithful friend. And Twilight says that, of course, I would do anything for you. So Twilight begins to pull her horn off until it finally snaps off of her. And she gives it to Yellow Star, which it turns the same color as her coat, and so yeah. Yellow Star thanks Twilight for her magic, and And Twilight's forehead is now... Apparently she doesn't... It's not... It's now perfectly smooth. Like, there isn't any kind of... Well, anything really there. Just... She doesn't even feel any pain from it. But Spike comes in saying that he heard a scream and wonders what's wrong. But he sees that Twilight is just standing alone in the private corner of the library. And he doesn't know what Twilight is doing, so he asks Twilight if everything is okay, and Twilight tells Spike not to panic and that she doesn't want him to be upset by what he's about to see, since he tells her that she broke her horn off to give her magic to Yellowstar. And Spike doesn't seem to know what Twilight is talking about, because Twilight's horn is still there on her forehead. Like it's not gone. And he asks Twilight if she's feeling okay, since her horn is right there. And sorry about that. I am so sorry, excuse me. I am so sorry about that, excuse me. She tells Spike, Twilight tells Spike that she just gave it to Yellowstar, and she says, but Spike then he splashes Twilight with a bucket of water, and he tells her that she was acting mad because, she was saying that she didn't have her horn. But Twilight confirms that she does have a horn, and she says that she's just a bit stressed out, and that it's just stress getting to her. So Spike suggests that Twilight goes to get some fresh air, and that Pinkie Pie is... Well, Pinkie mentioned a party, and that he suggests that Twilight should, go there, and that it'll do her some good, and Twilight agrees, but she ends up taking the book with her as well. Like, Twilight at this point, she basically has become obsessed with this book. Sorry, just trying to get comfy. And we're then treated to Pinkie Pie, basically the main six playing at the party that Pinkie Pie has, and they're all playing a say what I'm thinking, no questions allowed game, and Twilight yells at everyone to be quiet because she's still reading the book in the corner of the room, and Rainbow Dash she tells Twilight to stop reading and to socialize with them, and she tells Rainbow that Yellowstar has grown a magical horn and traveled to a world where everything is backwards. But Rainbow Dash says that one of her characters in in her story, the one that she gave Twilight to edit, grows a magical horn too, and she accuses the book of stealing her ideas and tries to take a look at it, but Twilight then... Sorry about that. She then proceeds to hit Rainbow in the face with the book and yells at her to get away from it. And Pinkie Pie wonders what's gotten into her. And Twilight yells at her friends what's gotten into all of you. The only thing that's important right now is Yellow Star, and she names that... She basically says that she's better at magic than Twilight is, better at parties than Pinkie Pie is, better at loving animals than Fluttershy, and is even a better flyer than Rainbow Dash. So Twilight basically leaves saying that she wants to spend time with her real friend, and of course everyone's like, what was that all about? Because, yeah, frankly, Twilight just snapped at them, like, why is she so mad? And Twilight complains that they were looking at her like she was mad. And Yellow Star also says that it was very unreasonable for them to do that, saying how much of a faithful friend Twilight is. And Twilight says that she doesn't understand and how she can make them realize this. And she then calls for Spike to take a letter to Princess Celestia saying that... Sorry about that. That her friends pale in comparison with the company of Yellow Star. Saying that Yellow Star is the best pony, but Spike suggests that this might not be a good idea, but Twilight's like, no, Yellow Star is the best pony, and hopefully everyone will realize that one day. And she tells Spike to send the letter. He does, and Spike, of course, hopes that things couldn't get much worse. And then we cut back to Saddle Stitch working back at the library, where, you know, he's kind of talking to himself, like he's just showering himself with praise. But before then, he then sees the case, or basically the place where the book was locked up, and he's like, oh crap. So he looks to see who could have gotten the book out, because it was wrapped up in chains and it was behind like a steel cage bars, I think. I don't know, it's been a while, but... And he wonders who could have took it, and he realizes that it was Spike. And then we cut back to Ponyville, where Spike is... Apparently, Spike has been taking all of Twilight's letters to the post office in Ponyville, but he doesn't get a response from her upstairs, and And then Saddle Stitch arrives at the house, at Twilight's house, saying that Twilight is in possession of one of the most awful books that has apparently this book that was kept in the library could possibly have the potential to destroy Equestria if it's read out loud. And Spike says not to worry because he locked it up in Twilight's safe. And Saddle Stitch is of course relieved by this. And Spike asks if he's the royal librarian. And Rainbow Dash she comes over as well and sees what's going on. Sorry about that, just need to get comfy. So, yeah. Rainbow Dash is... he basically Spike makes a comment that if Rainbow Dash's book was so bad that it's the book that he locked in Twilight's safe, but of course Rainbow states that he's just jealous and that Saddle Stitch asks who Rainbow Dash is. She introduces herself and that he asks Rainbow if she only written one book and Twilight apparently has the only copy, then how is she a famous author? And Dash is like, I don't know, isn't this how it works or something? And she basically says that she came to see if Twilight was okay. And he says that this book is called the Star Journal and that it wasn't written by Rainbow Dash. And she's like, and of course she realizes, and apparently Twilight has been rather protective of this book, I should say, for the past few days, and Saddle Stitch says that the book is evil, pure and simple, and it has the power to drive anyone who reads it mad. Even if you just read a few lines of it. And apparently it's also feeding off of the magic of Twilight, which, looking back, yeah, I could see. So, yeah, he basically says that they have to get it before Twilight finishes reading it, and Spike remembers when Twilight said that she had given it her magic. and that they need to get the book, and Saddle Stitch says that they need to get the book back. Or they're all going to be in big trouble. Not with, you know, whatever this book can do, but also with Princess Celestia. So he tells them that Twilight is upstairs in her room and that they should break in and take the book. But Rainbow, like, she basically she tells them that Twilight told them a bit about the book yesterday, and that it doesn't sound evil, it's just about a pony called Yellow Star having adventures, so what's so bad about that? But Saddle Stitch says that that's just a trap. That it wants to sound lovely to be your friend, and that's how the book lures you in. And that apparently it was the princess's duty to protect it and ensure that it never fell into the wrong hooves. And I gotta say, like, Saddle Stitch he basically just blames Spike for this. Like, I mean, I'll get back to it later, but yeah, it's just... And we then see Yellow Star, Silver Crescent, and Twilight looking at... Apparently they were listening in on the conversation downstairs, and Yellow Star begs Twilight and Silver Crescent that none of what they're saying is true and that she's not evil. And Twilight says that, of course, she trusts her. And that, how can you be so evil? You're kind, you're generous, and you're better than any other pony. And that she says also that they're all going to see that soon, and it's only a matter of time, but... Twilight then goes to her room with Yellow Star and Silver Crescent. And that Twilight says that they just have to hold out until her plan works, and that they need to all work together. But Silver Crescent isn't so happy right now, since she says that she's not going to help her, and that why should Yellow Star get to be the best pony when she wasn't the best when it mattered, and that they're all alone now and that it's her fault, and she wonders why she can't be the best. Twilight says that this isn't the time for this right now, but Silver Crescent then goes up to one of the windows, and she just vanishes. She just, like, she's just gone. Sorry about that, my eyes are... And Yellow Star tries to... She goes to the closed door and Twilight tries to call Silver Crescent back, but Yellow Star just tells her to leave her be. And that she's all alone again and that she wasn't good enough. And that they should just let her take the book. And that she belongs in a dungeon. Which Twilight, of course, isn't having any of it, so... And that they can still do this, and that it's just her and Yellow Star against the world, and that she doesn't need Silver Crescent if she has her. And that there's actually an interesting thing that Twilight says here. She says that a Silver Crescent is a blade, the blade of a knife, which stabs you in the back, which, I mean, I think that there's some kind of knife out there that's called a Silver Crescent, but that's actually for a bit later. So Twilight and Twilight basically just but Twilight says that it's just a familiar tale just to get a cheap and easy way to get a good reaction from the readers of the stories. And Yellow Star asks if that's all she is, just a bad story. And if that's the way it's supposed to work. And if she was, and like the writer of the story creates a happy land with ponies and then just tears it all down. And she says that if she could write stories, if she were to write stories actually, she would write them happy, where the sun always shines and no one's ever sad. And Spike goes up and asks Twilight if she's doing okay, and that the Royal Librarian is here to get some overdue books. But Twilight just ignores him. And Twilight actually asks what really happened with Yellow Star's parents. And she also asks about the Smooths, and Yellow Star actually reveals that she doesn't know. Sorry about that. She says that she doesn't think about how it actually happened, but sorry about that, excuse me. But she says that's just how she felt. And that she can't explain it, but she remembers the Smooths outside of the castle walls, and that she remembers that it was terrifying and terrible, and that the singing was the worst part. But she wonders how Yellow Star wonders how she could have known that if that wasn't in the story. But Rainbow tries to get Twilight... She basically tries to coax Twilight out by saying that they can switch books for a while. That, you know, like, she gives her hers, and Twilight gives Rainbow Dash her book, you know, book club style. But Twilight tells her to just give her a moment. And Yellow Star says that she won't tell Twilight what happens unless she finishes reading the book. That way, she can become real, but Yellow Star apparently doesn't want to be real. She just wants to go back. She just wants to go back to being happy again, because she can't touch the book right now, and that it's up to Twilight to do this. So, yeah, which I assumed she's talking about the plan Twilight made. But Twilight is like, no, you're a good pony, and that you deserve to be real like I am. And that she reminds Yellow Star that you don't let all the bad things in life dominate you. Dominate you. You don't let them rule over you. You're better than this. And Twilight places her hooves on the book's cover and starts to tear them out. And Saddle Stitch apparently has had enough, because he bursts into Twilight's. He basically knocks down the door and demands that Twilight opens the book. Well, no, actually, he doesn't break down the door, but he is slamming his hooves. Well, he's trying to break, like I said, he's trying to break down the door. And apparently Twilight is now in that, like, charm won't work here, and that they have to, and that Equestria is now hanging in the balance, since they can't get Twilight. They apparently can't seem to figure out any other way to get Twilight out of the room and to get the book. So Rainbow Dash, I am so sorry, that was awful. Rainbow Dash tries to she basically is going to try to break down the door herself, but before she can, Twilight opens the door and Rainbow stops herself from crashing into her. Well, she positions herself so she'll crash up into the wall instead of Twilight. And Twilight seemingly gives them the book, saying that she's finished with it now, and Rainbow Dash says that it was, and everyone's kind of shocked that Twilight just so willingly handed over the book. And Rainbow Dash even says that that was anticlimactic. And but Saddle Stitch is like, no, like, reading just a few sentences could send you mad. And that the book needs to stay shut at all times. But of course, Saddle Stitch looks at the book and he's like, and he realizes something that's but Rainbow Dash is, she's like, I just saved all Equestria from an evil book, but of course Saddle Stitch tells her that, but you don't burn books, and that the book was supposed to be kept under lock and key, and that he both him and Spike will be in big trouble for letting it out. And Spike points out that it didn't seem to do Twilight much harm, and that sure, she's acting a bit, crazy, and that she just got bored of the book fast enough, and that she spent the last few nights writing letters to every pony in Ponyville instead of reading the book. So it couldn't possibly be that bad, but Saddle Stitch suspects something, that because he doesn't think that Twilight would have give up the book so easily, and asks Spike what was in the letters. And Spike says that it was just light reading. But Saddle Stitch gets the feeling that, although he does hope it doesn't think what he thinks it might be. So, but Twilight states that it was just something for all the ponies in Ponyville to read, and that it's some of her favorite parts of the book, so they can all love Yellowstar as much as she does, and realize that she's the best pony, and that the post getting delivered right about now won't be long. And Twilight then goes back. Rainbow Dash tries to, she basically lunges at her. She basically just tries to tackle Twilight, I think, but Twilight just slams the door and she starts to bolt up her door. She tries, and Rainbow Dash tells her that this is crazy and that Twilight wouldn't put ponies in danger, and Saddle Stitch says that it drove Twilight mad and that everything she's doing right now seems right and logical to her. But it also could cause the end of everything, and basically, just trouble in general, it seems. And that they have to find a way to basically stop the delivery, to stop the letters from getting to everyone that they were sent to. So yeah, and Twilight, we then see Twilight claiming that she did it, that she tricked all of them, and that they'll now leave her alone, and that she can finish the story, and that she's on the last chapter. And apparently Twilight actually switched the covers of the book So Spike, Rainbow Dash, and Saddle Stitch have what they think is the actual Star Journal when it's really just Rainbow Dash's fanfic, and Twilight still has the real book. But Yellow Star seems to want Twilight to turn the pages back, to make her happy again like she was before. And that Twilight says that she can't do it, and that it has to be her. And that Twilight means what she says, that Yellow Star is better than anything else in Equestria, and that she deserves to be real. And she even says that not even Princess Celestia can hold a candle to her. And she even suggests that Yellow Star should be princess, but Yellow Star thinks that would be awful, because, with the fact that she brings up that Princess Celestia banished her sister to the moon, and wonders how she could have done something like that. And that Yellow Star says that she would never do something so terrible, and that it would destroy her. And that Twilight is right, that she should be princess. And yeah, Twilight, she basically tells Twilight to turn the page so Yellow Star can fulfill her destiny, and Twilight does so, and Yellow Star actually starts to glow. And yeah, Yellow Star basically becomes an alicorn. And after she's done, well, she starts to transform into an alicorn, and she now has more, like, flowers in her hair. She now has a tiara on. And she actually kind of has, I think she actually gets, like, the wavy mane like Luna and Celestia. And she tells Twilight that it's time for the Yellow Star to rise once more, and the final chapter has begun. Hoo-wee! That was a long one. But yeah, so interesting things are happening, there's also a lot of things that are going on, what is Yellow Star wanting? It seems that Yellow Star is just something in Twilight's imagination, only Twilight. It seems that only Twilight. I always kind of thought that Twilight was the only one who could see her because she read from the book. And it seems that Yellow Star's agenda now is that she wants to be real, but given what's happened with Yellow Star, she doesn't want to be real anymore. But Twilight, she kind of encourages this, saying that no, you deserve this. You even deserve to rule Equestria. You deserve to be the princess. And yeah, and also it seems that Yellow Star's to be honest, there is kind of some confusing stuff here, but I'm sure once we get to the last two parts of Chapter 3, it'll start to make more sense, because Yellow Star and Silver Crescent in this, well, I won't say it now or exactly what this the book the Star Journal is actually, because it does have a connection to someone, well, some pony else later on. But yeah, like, that was actually... And also the scene where Twilight just rips out her horn and gives it to Yellowstar, like, it's kind of like it was, like, at first glance, you're like... Some people would probably be like, oh my goodness, Twilight just ripped out her horn, and, like... But in the next scene, it's still there, like... And that's, like, the thing... Like, is it happening on a different level of some kind, or did Twilight just imagine all that? Like, and because apparently Twilight doesn't feel any pain afterwards after she gives it to Yellowstar. But, yeah. She just doesn't feel it. She seemingly doesn't feel any pain because her forehead is smooth, almost as if her horn wasn't even there to begin with. And when she talks to Spike, it's just poof, just still there. Like, nothing happened to it. Like, pardon. Sorry about that. But yeah, Twilight is also... Yeah, she at this point has been obsessed with this book, like, to the point where she actually comes up with a plan to... She actually comes up with the plan, I mean, she does lose the cover of the book, and she does eventually... She does get... She still... Well, obviously she still has the book because she switched the covers. But yeah, and also I think one thing that's kind of creepy is that when Yellowstar describes some kind of thing that they were doing, that they were... She mentions singing, and that apparently, like, and it seems that Yellowstar is going to, okay, maybe it's not the case, but it seems like Yellowstar is going to use Twilight to have every pony read the parts of the book that were Twilight's favorites to do that song again, because... And unless Rainbow Dash, Spike, and Saddle Stitch don't stop it in time, then it's possible that they are going to be in a lot of trouble if they don't stop it. So yeah, that was chapter 2 of The Star in Yellow, and it's definitely going... I can tell it's gonna get interesting, because there's a lot of stuff that is going to... I think some stuff is going to be kinda answered, or if it's still just going to be left up to interpretation, which, yeah, I dig. I like it. So, yeah. So, yeah, that was my review of Chapter 2 of The Star in Yellow. I hope you all enjoyed, and thank you all for watching, and once again, I apologize for this video to come out for such a long time, and that this review has been on hold for a while. I apologize for that, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!